This program is brought to you by LegendaryStrength.com. The content found here is for informational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. It is recommended you talk to your qualified health professional before making any changes to your exercise plan, diet, or prescription medication use. Legendary Strength is not responsible for any claims made during this program.
Hey, Logan Christopher here, and we got an interesting episode for the Legendary Strength podcast. As you may have seen, we are in the process of launching the Superhuman Training Workshop videos, a total of 15 DVDs. Amazing workshop, really great stuff, and we've been sharing a few video clips from that. What I decided to do is, because I've been so busy getting that all ready and everything, just take those videos and have them here on the podcast as well. You know, some things you can't see, but for the most part it's discussed and you'll be able to get the idea with it. So wanted to share it here. The first part comes with, basically it's an interview of me with Dru Patrick, one of the strongest people in the world. Just people seeing him since we've released these videos, they're like, whoa, I've never heard about this guy, and wow, he is strong and massive. After that, Bud Jeffries talking about isometrics, then me going into some detail on lever training and handstand push-ups, and the fourth clip comes from the mobility series. First, Eric Guttmann going through his daily mobility routine, then also some ideas from Bud Jeffries on the new evolution of mobility training we came up with at the workshop, the myofascial mobility. So you definitely want to check that out. And if you're listening to this, the Superhuman Workshop videos will be launched this Friday at I believe 6 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time, so be sure to check that out. Great deals. You can get any one of the videos or get the whole package together and save even more by doing that. So really cool stuff. Be sure to look for that. This was one, every workshop we seem to top the last one. Maybe it's just the recency effect, have a lot of fun with it, but there is some really high quality, and a lot of it, high quality information here, regardless of what your goals happen to be. If somewhere in strength and fitness, there's something here for you, so be sure to check that out. So let's get on to those clips. And before I let you go with that, though, we'll say tune in next week. Got a special interview with Thomas Tapp, parkour athlete, so be sure to check in with that. It was a great interview, already recorded, but it's coming soon. Awesome stuff. Be sure to look for that. Alright, let's get started with those clips.
Hey, welcome, this is Logan Christopher from LegendaryStrength.com, and I have with me here this massive man, Dru Patrick. We're just wrapping up here at the end of the Superhuman Workshop, and I have to say this, I was talking to all the attendees afterward, and more than anything, I mean, obviously great presenters all around, but they're just blown away by the stuff they got from you, and probably because it was really outside their paradigm. Anyone learning from me, you're going after, not necessarily getting massive, just different goals, but still what you can learn from this guy. If you want to get massive, go to him. If you want to get really strong, you should see what this guy can bust out. He can do more handstand push-ups than me. I don't think that's fair. I'm going to come back and beat him next time, but...
Oh, okay, we'll go ahead with that then. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing if we can do a one-arm handstand push-up.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, you see the shoulders on this guy, the arms. He's probably going to pull it off in some form, and it's going to be awesome. I gave him a new goal to work for.
Yeah, I very rarely do I sit there and say, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, I have a goal, I really want to hit this. But that a one-arm handstand push-up, definitely. I've heard it's never been done. Well, let's get it done.
Yeah. Okay, so can you give people a brief idea of your background and how you became so big and strong?
Wow, that's going to be, that's a lot of stuff here now. Okay, well, I mean, I've always been really strong. I've always been very, 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 very strong as a kid. It's, all the time. But when I was younger, actually, I'll give you an example. When I was 13, I went to a gym for the first time, and I beat a 28-year-old man at the strength test that they put us through. I was 13 years old. It was the first time in the gym. So that was pretty good indicator that, I knew that, oh, yeah, you're pretty good, pretty strong. And, I mean, he wasn't awesome, but he was a 20-year-old man.
Yeah.
So, at 16, I started, competing in football and things like that, and started lifting that. Actually, I was even younger. I was a little younger than that when I started playing football. But I was lifting at 16. And my first year, I benched 260, squatted 425, and did a skull crusher at 185. And 16 years old.
Right.
And so that was pretty good up until the early 20s. Just working really hard, getting better and better. And probably in between, the mid-20s, I won my first strongman contest. I did that for about 5 years. I have the unofficial world record for the still lock incline at 260 pounds for 31 repetitions. Then I went to powerlifting for a little bit, and I still do powerlifting now. 5 row bench world titles, multiple world records, and multiple federations.
Can you give a couple, just some of your best lifts, just a few different things?
Best lift too, dumbbell overhead, 200-pound dumbbells, my best overhead. 460-pound bottoms up overhead. 400-pound dumbbell row, one-arm dumbbell row. 225-pound incline dumbbell press. 545 combination raw bench press. I did an 885 squat recently, box squat with a steady squat bar with hands on the pegs, no spot. Side lateral, I did 165 for, I think, I'm going to say 6, I don't remember exactly what it was. I think I did 6 reps for 165.
Yeah, we saw you casually. You had 150-pound dumbbells here. So, oh yeah, I can, with those little toys, and you did it pretty effortlessly.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy thing for me to do. But for me, those kind of type of things, they translate into everything you do. As soon as we were talking about wrestling before, and catchers and MMA. As soon as your hands around a guy, the closer you get, you link to it. You want to have your torso, your back, your shoulders, your chest, all those muscles, your core engaged. You're not going to try and use, your biceps to throw a guy or to push somebody off you or to get by somebody in football or whatever that's going to be. You're going to use those core muscles, and that definitely, is one of those movements that, will translate into a lot of sports.
Yeah. So what we did at this workshop was really breaking down in fine detail a lot of the movements that, all the people here, very few people have actually been coached by someone who's good at the bench press. So just getting a few tips, almost everyone is like smashing through their PRs, and that was just one exercise. Did deadlifts, did a whole bunch of things, just seeing the exercise selection. But what I really liked was your whole program, what you use for gaining size, for gaining strength, and just how you laid out what do you call it, the 8
It's called 8 days. It's called 8 days a week, and for basically what that is I designed it because for me, if I try to go as hard as I want to go, 7 days a week, it's never going to work week to week to week. So for me, what I'll do is on Monday I'll do my max effort upper, and I'll have my accessory work as well after that. Then I'll have on Thursday I'll have a max effort overhead press, and then I'll have accessory, and then I'll do a back or a leg on the next Monday. So it goes Monday, Thursday, Monday. That's 1 week for me. And that day will be a back day, that day may be a leg day, whichever I decide to choose. In reality, you're every other week in back and legs. Every other week, every other 8 days, you're doing back and legs. So you're just flip-flopping them. Now, that being said, the next rotation, you're going to go right back to max effort overhead bench, or max effort bench, and then the next one's back to an overhead again. And lastly, for the second week, you would switch it over to legs if it's back and back if it's legs. If you can finish 16 days like that, that's phenomenal. That's about the best I ever hope to do. Because it's so difficult to do that many max effort movements, that hard, that heavy, that many. You're looking at 6 and 16 days. And the accessory work on top of it, that's all. I usually I'm instinctive with that. I'm not going to sit here and push myself if I feel exhausted, because I want to be able to go to the next training session and crush it. Now, after the 2 weeks, what I do is I'll have a dynamic / rep effort portion, and that will be for the bench, and when I say bench press, don't think just bench. Think floor press, think dumbbell bench press, think dumbbell incline, think...
Bench isn't even your favorite.
No, it's not. It's not my favorite lift at all. It's not my best either.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing. But, whatever variation of a bench press you're going to use, you have a rep effort now goal and a dynamic effort. If you're going to go for dynamic effort, then do it. But as soon as you slow down, switch to rep effort. And once you switch to that rep effort, you ride that out for the last week. And the last week would be a rep effort / dynamic effort bench. And then the next day would be the overhead, dynamic rep effort / And then the same thing for, let's say it's be legs the last one. And that'd be a rep effort probably, because you wouldn't be fast enough at that point probably at the end of a 24-day training cycle to do anything that super fast.
Right.
So at that point, you deload for 10 days, and then after that deload, you come back, and every single person I've ever had do this has, number one, gotten stronger. Number two, they have their injuries healed up. You know, I mean, and just you continue these 5-week, cycles, and you just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger.
Obviously, it's working for you and for a bunch of people you've trained.
Yeah, it works for me. And I've trained super high-level athletes, and they work. I've also trained regular people, and they work. It works just as well for them too.
Cool. So any final words before we wrap up? And by the way, you can check out DruPatrick.com. We're going to have these videos from the workshops available, a whole bunch. We got ideas for tons of stuff, technique, whole workouts, everything. So if you're looking to become as strong as this guy, and who doesn't want to become ridiculously strong, then...
Obnoxiously strong.
Yeah, obnoxiously, ferociously strong.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to be ferocious.
Yeah. So
inside joke.
This is a guy to learn from. Like I said, everyone was blown away by him. His knowledge and how he applies it and everything is top notch. So thank you very much, Drew.
Oh, you're welcome very much. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
The one thing I would like to add to this is that I've been doing this for 20 years. I've competed against the best people in the world, and some of the best people in the world at least. And I've never in my life seen a workshop that has this much elite level, not just instructors, but elite level attendees. There's people here that are walking on their hands. There's people here that there was a girl that did a 4 times bodyweight rack pull. It's a girl. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, and you don't see that. It does not happen. So if you're really serious about it and you really want to get better, come to these workshops. I'm blown away, and I'm not saying it because I'm part of it. If I didn't think it was good, I wouldn't say it. Anyone that knows me knows that. So that's it. I mean, you want to get better, really come here and learn what's up, because there's insane. You got 16-year-old kids bending red nails. Everybody that knows anything about Iron Man, you got a 16-year-old kid bending a red nail like it's butter.
Yeah, the red nail's easy for
him. Easy. It's a
you
joke.
may be one of the first people to bend the gold nail.
It's a joke to him, okay? You got guys over here, you got women doing kettlebell handstands and picking them up with one hand. Yeah. You got, like I said, chicks that are deadlifting 4 times their body weight. It's insane. It's insane. And it doesn't happen. I've never ever seen it happen in one place. And on top of it being in one place, no egos. Nobody cares. It's just joking around, having fun, teaching each other stuff, learning from each other. That's all it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so check out superhumanworkshop.com. We'll have the details shortly for next year's training, and it's going to be everyone we try to outdo the last, and we're setting the bar higher and higher, but we're going to continue to do so.
Isometrics, and isometrics is both simpler and more complex than anybody ever thought. Meaning that if you look at the old traditional ways of doing it, and if you just look at the simple definitions, well, it's just straining against something that won't move. But there's a ton of ways to apply it. And the really great thing about it is you can apply it for any particular set of skills or strengths that you want to build. And it's probably, and I'm experimenting with this more, probably the only truly what I would call in sport or in art applicable strength. Okay, so let me tell you what that means. You deadlift to get better as a martial artist or a baseball player. Well, you get better because you get stronger, but you do not apply the same nervous pattern. That's why weighted kicking doesn't work, or throwing a weighted baseball. Okay, it doesn't really help. Not in the way that you would think. It's certainly not any kind of one-on-one carryover. And if you're not very, very, very careful about in sport or in art trying to simulate what you are doing, you will terribly destroy your own nervous patterns. Okay, which is why you get very careful if you're training a puncher or a boxer or any kind of in anything that is so specific to his punching, you cannot mimic it. Same as you cannot mimic a weighted football, and you'll just destroy the thrower. It messes the whole thing up. However, you can apply an isometric in those things because you can exactly duplicate the positions without messing up the speed. In fact, you'll increase the speed by nervous activation and move on from there. So I'll jump into this a little bit before I get into the real meat of the isometrics here, but follow along with me, okay? So you've got a baseball player, okay, or a puncher. And what you're doing is analyzing or creating strength where the entire body can unify behind every position here. So if I want to make a stronger puncher and I'm going to use isometrics to do it, I'm going to get exactly the body position I want him to punch from. Or if I want to make a better thrower or better anything like that, I'm going to get exactly the body positions that I want to do. Because if you throw a heavy weighted ball, you change the body position. You don't want to throw a heavy weighted ball, you want to throw the exact ball and then use a chain or something to stop the motions exactly where it's at. Okay? Come here, Bobby, I'll show something with you. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have you pull against the pins, or pull against the chains there. Okay? I'm going to pull up. I want you to maintain that tension, but just enough tension to keep the chains tight. And then we're going to do bursts of absolute full power against the chain. Does that make sense? So I want you to hold it there, okay? Right here. And then when I tell you, you're going to try to get the rack. Okay, so now, this for a split set. Okay, now don't slack. Again, you know what I'm saying? It's the temptation here is to go. I don't want you to jerk your body and pull down and pull up. I want you to keep enough tension to keep it up. And then we're going to try to do like 10 reps of full. Okay. Now this is an interesting one because this is a combination of yielding and full power done in bursts, but with a time element as well. So what do we got here? We're going to end up with a 10-20 second long isometric, but intermittent burst of that's going to be the absolute max power, fully pulling into the thing. The other is going to be holding at a minor. So this is both ramping up and down in the same set with an extended time period and a full-on max contraction at the same time. That make sense?
Just following your instruction.
Yes, sir.
Right. Just go.
Yes, sir. Anytime you're ready. All right, hold. Now pull. Pull. Torso tight. Pull. Hold. Pull. Hold. Pull. More rest. Hold. Well, I said we were going to do 10, but
Smoking my hamstring.
it's way tougher than you think because you don't realize, even in a relatively grinding heavy lift, you don't realize how much momentum is involved. And this completely takes that momentum out because once you hit that stop, and so when it takes the momentum out, it's a locked-on contraction that doesn't stop until you jump off, and it's not a problem. That much weight, you get over that, you just can't. We've done it with stones, just a pure old rag and pick up stone and held it. That's okay, but the stone digs in and cuts and hurts, and you know. Peter Ragnar does it with these. I'll show you what it looks like. I just want to make sure. That's with a set of dumbbells like this. This is the first one I did. Just tried it like this. You just hold it. Basically, you want to relax as much as possible and breathe. Try to keep up as possible. If you're really going to go for long, there's a method I learned from motorcycle guys. And what they do is they actually switch leg to leg. So they're up one, down one, up one. See how I'm kind of switching side to side? You kind of can cheat how long you can stay. If you want to go for a long period of time, I do know this. I've had, ever since I hurt a knee running, I've had knee problems. They make my knees feel better. They don't create soreness, they create fatigue, but not soreness. And they make my knees feel better, and they make my knees feel more stable when I'm walking around, less likely to slip out of place or whatever. And I experimented with doing them actually between sets of regular barbell squats. And once you get over the hump of the fatigue of it, it actually made me just stronger to do like 1 minute, 2 minute sets of between sets of squats or deadlifts.
Jump, same thing for me. It jumped my deadlift up by like 200 pounds just since we started doing that. Now I'm gonna say we need a different test kit because I have gotten older, so that may be, that just may be a part of it. But it, for some reason, it made me think more about where my actual base of pulling was, so I could be more pulling with my legs and not round backing or doing any of that. Got me where I feel a center about it now since I started doing the wall sit, and it immediately jumped it up. Like within the first 4 or 5 months of doing that, my deadlift was up 100 pounds. Then after I really started getting better at it and started going past like the 7-minute marker and getting up there a little more, and after I did that for about a half hour, the next 2 weeks after, my deadlift was just stupid strong. I literally went from being a 350 to a 550 in like a 4-month period when we started doing this. So there's no way anyone can say this does not build any kind of strength.
If anything, this series was even better than the first one, and the first one has been hugely popular. He covered stuff like the wall chair here, which him and his son Noah have been using a whole bunch, and Noah, it added over, was it 150 or 200 pounds to his deadlift by training the wall chair. Very cool stuff. Complete detail on this in the full Isometrics set, 3 DVDs worth. Wide variety of different training information, different training applications, and really it's going to depend on your goals, how you're going to take it and use it in the future to be able to reach more and more of what you want to achieve. In this workshop I covered bodyweight training, some stuff I'd covered before, but really I gave the latest and greatest of what I've been doing. So in one of those segments was lever training, and I want to show you a couple dynamic exercises that most people aren't saying. When they go with lever training, it's usually all holds, and that's a big part of it, but there's something great about movement. So I want to be sure to include these in there. That's why I included them there, and you can check out a couple of those exercises right now.
So it goes something a little easier. Here's one I like to do that combines front and back levers. Hard to do with a bar because you can't do it but on rings. So with this, you can do any of the different holds we've been doing. You're just going back between the two. So I'll go for a one leg tuck front lever into a bench. How about into a straddle back lever?
So you can also do both legs.
So go ahead and try a version suitable to your level, moving between some front variation and some back variation. Go ahead. Ready, Chris? This is a lot more volume than I normally do, even though I've been trying to keep it easy. Great, even if you just go from back tuck to a front tuck, that's going to get you really used to the position while doing it in a dynamic manner. So this is a move just picked up recently, another very advanced one. It's basically raising up into the back lever position. It's sort of like the reverse hyper machine, except in a back lever. I call it the back lever raises. I saw Al Cavaldo doing this in one exercise. I was like, in a video he had, and I was like, ooh, that's brutal. Al Cavaldo? Oh, let's see if I have anything left for this one. So basically you're going to be, your torso is going to be there, but legs are straight, then boom, it's a leg raise to the back, up into the full position. It's brutal.
A lot of fun. Looks like fun.
Alright, we're going to tie a dumbbell to your feet now.
So yeah, you don't need a reverse hyper machine.
Now I also taught on handstand push-ups, more detailed than I've ever gone in before. Really, this is a companion to my book, The Ultimate Guide to Handstand Push-Ups, with some of the latest and best things that I have for it as well. So what I have for you today is an exercise variation of the handstand push-up that I've never seen ever covered before. That is the circular handstand push-up. Go ahead and watch this video, then give this one a try, and be sure to leave your comments down below.
So I was working on doing 100 to the head in an easy manner, and see what I could do that. I'd never done 100 reps in a workout before. So I was working on that, and
doing sets of 5, and I was kind of bored throughout it. So I started doing circular movements as I was doing it. So 2 different ways to do this. You can go a little to the side. It's kind of like pull-ups. A lot of people have seen this, where you pull up to one hand and you can shift over. You can do the same thing with the handstand push-up. It's not quite as far because this could be used if you really wanted to go toward more one-arm handstand push-up. Oh, and let me say that the whole convict conditioning one-arm handstand push-up thing, it's great that it got people into, you know, some effective bodyweight training, but way smarter to go full range than to just go to one arm. So I would go this way. I suppose in a prison you might not have benches to do that, so I guess it makes sense for him. But
you can get your prison mates to like stand on their hands and knees or something.
Well, that might be some sort of other prison thing going on with that. Okay, so coming to one side and around. I mean, you could do the same side, but just playing around with this motion a little bit. So go ahead and pick an easy one for you and try this in there. Phone books or whatever you need.
Yeah, no.
You're freakish, Logan.
That's what I do.
I know.
Well, and then the fact that you're
This is
so
the superhuman
long,
workshop.
Yeah.
like the fact that your arms are 8 feet long is
It
like...
makes it harder for you.
Touch your edge at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, that's good. We got more variations. But see, I've never seen this variation covered before, just sort of stumbled on it. It's a good way to emphasize one arm or not.
Wow, that was good. Yeah.
Okay, we have a second circular variation, front to back. This one actually it's a different feeling. You're not overemphasizing one arm, but you're changing a little position. It's a weird feeling to it. So coming here, and you can come the other way, which is actually harder.
Just change the groove for back.
So go ahead and try that variation. And I have something important to talk to you about, and that's mobility training. Now, a lot of trainers and people have gotten into this because a lot of people have been teaching it in the recent years. First, let me say, if you haven't learned this at all, then it's absolutely essential that you do. If you want to learn how to move well, then you have to move well, and joint mobility is one way to do that. So, in the first presentation of the workshop, we had Eric Guttmann detailing his full mobility system to work from head to toe, with some really cool upgraded things like using auto-suggestion along with it that you won't see in other places. But really, that's just the beginning of what was covered at this workshop, because we went into the next evolution of mobility training. But before we get to this, watch this clip with Eric Guttmann.
I personally feel it around the 5th to 6th step. I feel a little zzz. So just pay attention and count the steps and see if you feel something. Now we're going to go on the rib cage. Now this is one that for some reason, my personal body, I like to do a lot of reps. And this is one that guys continually they want to do that for some reason. So again, this is one of the main reasons why I got this whole motive force. So what I do is, of course, you bend your knees and you're going to imagine that your fingers are pressing on your thigh. And when you press your thigh, your hinge, your rib cage is so relaxed that it absorbs the energy. And that's what allows it to come up, and then just let it collapse. So make pressing the thigh the motive force for the rib cage, for the hinge. And again, I've counted reps, and I usually like to do like 40 of these, whereas everything else is usually 5 to 10. And what you really want to feel is that your diaphragm gets to relax. And especially after deadlifting, you really want to do a lot of these for some reason. All right, the next one is one that a lot of people have, more time to learn. And again, a lot of these things, some of them took me months to get. Now it's called the lateral glide. And the best way I've seen to explain it first is to just open your hands and imagine there's a bookcase right next to it, and only try to move your rib cage. And these are really good to do in front of a mirror, because the ideal scenario has your face stuck and your pelvis stuck, and you only move your rib cage. And if you ever injure your lower back, you will see how connected your rib cage is, because the minute you go like that, you'll feel it. Now, if you're able to glide, kind of relax, you can try just lowering your arms and just seeing how far you will go. And again, the key is to release tension side to side. So be careful about, that's really good. You see, look at Nick is doing it. That's really good. So a common mistake is doing this. So that's why doing it in front of a mirror is cool, because you can see what you're doing. And again, once you feel that you've created that glide motion, you stop, because you achieve full mobility. And by the way, when I do this without explaining, it's about 20 to 26 minutes. That's all I'm doing, because this is my preparation for Qigong. Now I'm explaining and I'm breaking it down, so it takes a little bit more. But the goal is 15 to 20 minutes in the morning. Reset your body, re-energize your body.
So what is this next evolution of mobility training? It's something that Bud Jeffries came up with based on some of his massage background. Now, we can't show you a clip of that because, well, it's too good to show, but we are going to give you a little bit of the coaching call that me and Bud do for our Superhuman Training monthly members. And in this call, we talked about that because it was such a cool thing. I wanted to talk about it after the workshop and really how it developed, how he's been using it, how I've been using it as well, just to give you an idea of what this is and really why it is, and I'll go with it, superior to the mobility training that most people are doing, because this is the only way that you'll actually be doing exactly what your body needs to be doing, what works for your body, not anyone else's. So listen to this clip.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm finding. Two things I think I'm finding with that, and maybe I'll explain to people what it is, I guess, or at least as much as we can explain right now. Okay, so mobility comes in a bunch of forms. Mobility being the ability to move fluidly, or the ability of a joint, a body to move through its entire range of motion. And most people are restricted in some way. They just don't move as well as they should. They don't whatever. And I got the idea after watching Eric and talking to these guys and applying some of the massage training that I have of, okay, the fascia, the connective tissue that surrounds all the muscle, all the joints of the body, actually acts like an active record around the body. And anything you do as movement, as well as anything you do that creates pain, creates energy or whatever, is recorded there. And you can suggest to the body, it's a legitimate massage technique to literally work itself backward through that memory, work through the positions that the body's been through, and find the areas where there's a disturbance, where there's something wrong, where there's something out of whack. And that's what we started to do, and I started to apply that. Instead of in massage, it's done by another person suggesting to the muscle, manipulate to do it that way. Well, I believe, this is what we started doing at the workshop, that you can do it on your own. You can suggest that. And so what are we doing there? What we're doing is creating mobility that is specific to the individual problem that any particular muscle or series of joints has. It's not just move in a circle. It's move in the shape of movement that either created the problem or that your body needs to undo that. And then asking the body to very specifically address those particular issues, those particular things, and undo them by the particular movements, by what happens and what it does. And I think it can be done. A couple things I've found, that the energy, I find that my energy really ramps up when I do it, and I'll tell you why, okay? People talk about blocks in energy and subtle energy and the flow of movement and chi, whatever, around the body. I think that fascia, for lack of a better way of how I'm visualizing it, okay, your fascia gets wrinkled or gets little burrs, or like if you had a line, okay, if you have a copper line that conducts electricity, and you bend that line so that it shorts back against itself, well, that's basically what you have going on with the fascia. And if you unwind it so that it's straightened out, you've taken the kink out, you've taken the short circuit out, you allow the flow of energy to become a ton better. I've also been finding that it holds better for me than other types of mobility. I don't know if there are people who do this, or if you had enough miles and dings on you to need to do a significant amount of mobility, you'll be able to feel that, hey, I'm warm, I'm mobile, I'm moving, and 6-8 hours later you don't feel as mobile. You're stiffening or what, you know what I'm saying? I find that this particular style of mobility seems to hold longer for me than other types, and I think it's because you're addressing the specific problems. In other words, just working through a general